Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to begin this lesson by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Padash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. Okay, I want to say all praises and honor and glory is definitely due to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, especially in the times that we're living in. And Salaki, I gotta say, I'm sitting here caught between two lessons. As you can see, the time is 4:25 a.m. Okay, and so it's time for me to be ready to call it a night, but I have to get a lesson in. And the water Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai for giving me this lesson to do. But there was another lesson that came to mind in the midst of just coming up with this lesson. I came up with two. And oh man, Yahweh Ratazah, I'll get into the other one tomorrow. If not tonight, it'll be all according to the Spirit. But again, the water Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai for proving your word to be faithful and true. The water for bringing your prophecies to come to pass. All praises to Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai for that, man. We are literally in the last days, man. And I gotta say, and I've said it before, I can recall, it's only been 6 years since I came into the truth, and so much has happened. So much has happened in just 6 years. I can't imagine what my elders and apostles saw in the past 40, 30, 20, or just 10 years. Seeing that these things were unfolding and I had no idea. I just knew something was off. That's all I had. That's all I had to go on. I had no ammunition for the argument that something was off. But I knew something was off. And the water Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai for giving me this truth. For giving me the Holy Spirit. Because now I got a lot of ammunition. Okay. Call Halal Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai, man. Call Halal Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai, because now my ammunition is 144% truth. And it can't be denied. And we're living in a time where this is how any man of the Lord feels. We're so happy that it can't be denied. People that deny it are simply like, as I was listening to the priest Yashamat, he was like, man, you just gotta understand that it just ain't hope for ain't no hope for 2/3 of our people here in Babylon the Great. You cannot convince these people. If they're a lot, we have a predestined lot, and Lord will be of that number. We have a predestined lot to believe, as 2/3 of our people, Israelites, have a predestined lot to not believe. And hey, everybody else in America have a predestined lot to not believe, okay? Because this place is going down, okay? And now, if you notice lately, I've done a few videos, and I know a few people have. Apostle Tahar, Elder Yasharamba, I know the Elder Mar lawyer in Kansas City have done some videos from this chick. I believe her name is Kim Iverson. Let's just go to it. And she brings out some good information. Now, I got 2 videos that I want to play from her, so this could be pretty lengthy. We'll see. But I'm gonna start right here at this first one that I watched, and it is.
Why didn't anyone tell me that you can earn an MBA by building a revenue-generating business? So there's this program called One Day, where you're paired one-on-one with an entrepreneur who's already built a multi-million-dollar business in your...
Allegedly, Trump was going to escalate the...
So this says 9 hours ago, and the other one I watched also said 9 hours ago, so I don't know which one came first, but let's check out. She's bringing us a lot of good information concerning this World War III, you know. And let me just say this. First of all, fair use, fair use. This video is not being used for monetary gain. It's only for educational purposes, you know. So under the guidelines, under the Fair Use Act of 1976, you know, it's only being used for monetary. It's not being used for monetary gain, only for educational purposes. Okay.
Iran war, but he's held off for now because according to the New York Times, we're running out of Patriot defense missiles, the interceptors. And some of the military is saying, that's a lie, we have plenty, kind of, sort of, but the only reason why we ran out was because of Joe Biden. So wait, do we have them or do we not? Did we run out or do we still have some? And if we ran out, whose fault is it? According to New York Times, President Trump has set aside, at least for now, plans to sharply escalate the American military assault against Iran, with particular concern that intensifying the war could dangerously drain the Pentagon's already diminished stockpile of Patriot anti-missile interceptors and other air defense munitions in the Middle East. The threat to interceptor stockpile...
Give it a second. I'm going to let it play. Okay, because the video is like 16 minutes long, but I need you to hear the points that she's making. Okay, and we're going to get into it.
Is one of many considerations that have made a return to major combat operations a hugely risky endeavor, administration officials say. So wait a minute. Why are we running out of Patriot missiles again? And wait a minute. How could we possibly run out of them again? I mean, I thought that Iran's military had been obliterated. I thought that they were only using drones. Are we actually using Patriot interceptors on drones? No, the answer is no, we're not. And the answer is obviously then Iran's military has not been obliterated. They clearly still have a bunch of ballistic missiles because that's what we use. That's what we use, Patriot interceptors, in order to take down those ballistic missiles. Sometimes the interceptors are used to take down drones, but more often than not, they're actually used to take down they're used to take down ballistic missiles. So clearly Iran still has a huge arsenal, and
you know, me speaking as a man, and from what I've learned throughout the years, is that America has been at war for most of its existence. You know, I wanna say it's been 17 years. Yeah, that might be something I can just Google. You know, let me see. How much time has America been at war since its guess, establishment. Look at this. One right here, AI overview says the United States has been involved in military conflicts for roughly 225 to 230 years of its 250 years of existence. About 90 to 93% of its history. It says, has the U.S. really been at war 222 out of 239 years since 1776. Let's see what this says. It says, I've seen this image posted on social media claiming that the U.S. has been at war. It's not giving me nothing here. That's just somebody asking the question. Technically, we haven't been at war since World War II. Only Congress declared. Okay, they see that right now you're full of it. You know, it's and that's why I deal with the AI. It said 225 to between 225 to 230 years. Bro, you ain't even you ain't had 20 years of peace, man. This country has not had what's the word? 20 years of non-stop peace at one time. Never happened. Just a consistent 20 years of not being at war. It's never happened. Because this man is a warmonger, man. And this is why they're probably, because I did listen to a video, and I did report on it. The guy said that we've already started rationing ammo. We're starting to ration our ammunition. That means you wasn't ready for this war with Iran to begin with, man. But you're going into it like the big bully you are, thinking that they was just gonna fold. You really thought you was Billy Badass until you met Billy Badass. Now, don't get it twisted. America still got some stuff. Okay? The thing is that they're running out of it. And we're at a point, and I'm gonna speak more on this later, we're at a point to where they I believe, that they are rationing ammo because they know that they can't really fight this war as long as they need to before bringing in that MOTB system, man. They know they got to do that, and it's more that has to come in order for them to be able to convince all these dingy-ass Americans to take it, because these Americans are privileged. Americans have too many rights. This is my right to do this. This is my right to do that. See, it's going to be easy in a lot of other countries, you know what I'm saying, to implement that. But here in America, they gotta go through a bunch of different loopholes, change a lot of laws and all this here stuff to implement that. So now they're trying to buy themselves some time. And like I said, I got another video from her. And like I said, speaking as a man, it partly proves it. You know what I'm saying? And either way, it's still Bible prophecy. So let's get back to her.
Clearly, we're not able to replenish fast enough, and Iran's got an entire nation with underground stockpiles of missiles, and we've just got a few measly bases that are getting pummeled, and we're running out of stuff. And these guys are still thinking it might be a good idea to invade Iran or attack Iran. And then, after this report comes out, there's a bit of denial. Watch this.
I want to ask you about the assets. NBC News is reporting the Pentagon is actually rationing some defense weaponry amid diminishing supplies. Is America backing away from a larger military attack because its military stockpile has been depleted?
Well, look, we have to take a step back here in that a lot of stockpiles were depleted, not only from what we gave Ukraine over the last however many years, 4 or 5 years, and the administration inherited, the Secretary Hegseth inherited a depleted situation from not only Ukraine, but also the ongoing fight with the Houthis under the Biden administration and a depleted military under the Biden administration. So they have decided, one, they're going to new types of munitions, cheaper munitions, new technologies, but also with these new defense budgets, rebuilding our great military. However,
but you acknowledge
I want to be clear.
Do you acknowledge they're depleted at this moment?
I want to be crystal clear. The U.S. military, and I've verified this every which way, has everything that it needs to conduct this campaign as effectively as it needs to be. And I have to tell you, the people that are leaking this nonsense deserve to be in jail.
You or someone you know have a teenager who is on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or Snapchat. This is the money glitch that could get families potentially compensated right now. These apps were allegedly built to keep teenagers hooked, not by accident, on purpose. And while your child was scrolling for hours, getting more anxious, more depressed, more lost, these companies had proof it was happening. They saw it, they hid it, and they did nothing. This isn't just talk. Over 2,000 families have already filed lawsuits. CBS News reported that Meta's CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, was called to testify in court over the damage Instagram caused to children. This is real, and it is happening right now. Here is what most parents don't know. If your child dealt with depression, anxiety, eating problems, self-harm, or thoughts of suicide while using these apps, your family may qualify to seek potential compensation. In January 2026, Snapchat and TikTok settled a major addiction lawsuit before a jury could even hear the case. They saw the evidence and chose to pay. Facebook already paid $85 million for mental health harm. One family got $9.1 million after losing a child to social media. File now money that could help with therapy costs, secure their college fund, or give your family a fresh start. But only if you act before the final lawsuit is filed. After that date, the door is closed forever. You are out. No exceptions. 85% of families who qualify will never file because they think their child's story isn't bad enough. Don't make that mistake. It's free and it takes 30 seconds. A few simple questions. That's it. Your information stays 100% private. You are not signing anything by checking. You are just finding out if you qualify. But you have to do it before the deadline hits. Don't let these companies get away with what they did to our teenagers. Click now to check if you qualify. This page comes down once the lawsuit moves forward.
If you have ever wanted to land a $100 to $150K a year fully remote career in as little as the next 4 months, listen up carefully. And before you run away thinking this is too good to be true, it all comes down to skill acquisition, as with anything. In the workforce, you get paid for what you're able to do for a company and how valuable it is for them to have your skill set in their organization, and how hard it is for them to find that skill set. And one of the most high-paying, yet achievable skills to learn today is the ability to run ads on social media platforms just like this for companies. Colleges just don't teach it, so companies cannot find talent who can actually do this, but they have to find it in order to survive in this digital age. Because right now, most of their advertising budget goes to outdated methods like cable, newspaper, and magazines. And when was the last time you used one of those, like newspapers and magazines? Yet, you are probably on social media every day. So you can see the importance for them to make that digital transition and why they will pay so much to someone who can help them do so. So this isn't for everyone. I'm going to make that disclosure right now. You have to be willing to put in some work over the next 3 to 4 months to learn the skill, pass our certification, and participate in our internship program to get real experience with media buying. But at the end, we can directly connect you with opportunities to earn a remote high income. You will need to put in some time to learn this skill. So if you are unemployed or looking for a job right now, this probably isn't for you. We recommend keeping your job while you learn and until you land your new one. This isn't starting a business or anything risky like that, or going back to college and spending 4 years and getting a degree that will keep you in the same spot you're in now. It's about getting you a highly relevant skill set for today's workforce. So if you want to learn a skill that will follow you around for the rest of your life, that you can actually leverage to land yourself a six-figure career, which may be able to directly connect you with, which we may be able to, click to learn more. We have a training that breaks down all the details for you on the next page at no cost. And if you qualify to work with us, we will train you, give you direct experience, and connect you directly.
Leaking this nonsense deserve to be in jail.
So wait a minute. Are the stockpiles depleted because of Biden, which he went on and on explaining that they are depleted because of Joe Biden, or are they not depleted at all and the people saying such belong in jail? Now, I can understand that they're...
And so what you see is going on here is that Esau is in straits, as the scriptures say. I would lay a snare for Babylon the Great. Okay? And we're going to get that in the book of Jeremiah chapter 50. But let me let her talk, and I'm going to get another scripture I'm thinking about.
Position is they don't want to actually admit that we have depleted stockpiles because that gives Iran obviously a leg up. And they don't want Iran to know that they have a leg up. So I can understand that they're pissed off about this information leaking. But obviously the information is true because they all keep blaming Biden. Which means, if they still had a bunch of Patriot missiles, they'd say, no, it's not true. We still have plenty. We're fine. But it's...
And she's right, because that's what Esau does. When he starts getting exposed, he finds a boogeyman to blame. You know what I mean? Like we did, and I played it in the last video, I want to say that I did, that once at one point they were blaming Russia for interfering with the presidential elections here, and now he's blaming China, So just the reason of drag China and Russia all the way into war, and we're going to get into some more of that as well, okay? Because this thing is gearing up pretty quickly, and this man is, Esau, America getting ready to lose badly, man.
They say, yeah, but it's because of Biden. No, we actually have we're fine. Meanwhile, so we obviously cannot go up against Iran in a head-to-head war anymore like this. I mean, this is untenable. We are in a different part of the world. This is not a nation on our borders. We're not fighting for our sovereignty. We're not fighting for our right to exist. We're not fighting for any of that. Now, you might say, well, Israel is. Okay, fine, then let Israel fight the war. Fine, that's up to them. But for us, we have no real business being there. Yet... we've got a bunch of lunatics in this country calling for essentially our entire annihilation. They think they're calling for Iran's annihilation. They're actually calling for the United States annihilation. Watch this. Here's ultra-Zionist Sid Rosenberg demanding the U.S. wage total war on Iran.
It is inevitable that President Trump is going to have to do what he doesn't want to do, which is go in there with this massive all-out attack. There's no other way to stop this. There's no other way to win this war. So, again, he's trying to do the best he can. He's a very nice man. I love President Trump. He doesn't want people to die. He really doesn't. Okay, he's a nice man. But there's no other way to end this. Once you start this, Midnight Hammer was great. Epic Fury was great. Once you start this, there needs to be a finish. And the only finish is complete surrender by the Iranians. I hate to say it, but complete annihilation.
Well, we talked last...
And Trump is in a situation to where he's literally just being controlled. Okay, they can say he doesn't want people to die, whatever, man. He knows Trump is only worried about himself and his status, okay, and his money. He's been a businessman, and he's doing business with the Israelis because they are in control. These small hats are in control. Okay, Lord will they don't take this video down. Okay, so they signing his paycheck. Okay, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. He's at work. He's doing his job.
Time about this, and by the way, I agree. I love President Trump. I love his
his heart, I think, is really for peace. And he's always, I love that
You doofus Americanites. There is no peace in this man's heart. There is no peace in any of these Edomites' heart. I don't care what you say. If you see an Edomite that's peaceful, then it's probably a Jake looking like an Edomite. Just being truthful.
Now, this past week, he's still talking about peace and wanting to find and leaving that door open for negotiations. You say the only end is annihilation. Now, what if the winning this war requires boots on the ground? I asked you that last time. That's not very popular with the American people. What is your response to that?
It's not popular.
No, it's not popular with American people, because see, one thing about the so-called American military is that they're not good at ground war. And this is not misinformation. This is information that's been told to me from people that I know from the military. Okay, they're not good with ground war. Now, airstrike, they got it. They're a motherfucker with airstrike. Excuse my language. They good with airstrike. But when it come to ground war, they suck. You know, and that's because the diet of Americans, you know, the diet, the foods you eat, you know what I'm saying, you're too privileged. You know, you get DoorDash every day. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to work out. You just eat a bunch of food with a bunch of chemicals in it that ain't doing it but weakening your body, weakening your mind, weakening everything about you. You know what I'm saying? So our people are not, you cannot train our people to be ready for ground war with these Iranians, with Russians, with definitely not with no doggone Chinese. You know what I'm saying? So the airstrike is their biggest, and if you look at history, you know, they've won all their wars, you know, the ones they've won through airstrike. And then they put boots on the ground when they know that the enemy is defenseless, put it like that. Okay, then they put boots on the ground to go in there and capture whoever it is they're trying to capture, or go in there and get whatever it is they're trying to get when they've taken over the country by airstrike. But see, now they're running out of their airstrike capabilities, it seems like, which lets you know the Lord is bringing America, Babylon the Great, down. Okay? And this place is, man, this place is, it's over with here, man, for you Americanites, man. You damn Babylonians, it's over with. It's over with. It's best to repent, you know, turn back to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, or just burn along with the rest of you heathens here. You know what I'm saying? That's advice to you Israelites.
With me either. Look, I'm not a parent of an Army person,
right.
a Marine person, so I'm very sensitive to that, trust me. But look,
Liar. You're not a parent to anybody that's pretty much in the Army or whatever, so you're very sensitive to it. No, you're not. Because you know you're not a parent to one that has to go out and fight. You're a bald-faced lie. Literally. You don't have to care. And you don't. Let's let him continue on so he can prove that.
have the Army, we have the Marines for a reason. They're not there to shake your hand at the airport, Rachel, okay? They're there for a reason. Last I checked, we don't have a draft in this country. So these courageous men and women know exactly what they're signing up for. This is war. We don't want to see anybody.
Yeah, there'll be a draft soon. Just wait.
Die. But this is war. A war that started 47 years ago in this country. So these courageous men and women know exactly what they're signing up for. This is war. We don't want to see anybody die, but this is war. a war that started 47 years ago that they started. So, yes, I know the moral ground is to say, I don't want our kids to die. I feel the same way. But we got to win. Now, we can win maybe without putting boots on the ground. Maybe we can. I don't know. I'm not Jack Keane. I don't have that type of information. If we can do that, great. But if at some point it requires putting some boots on the ground to win this war, that's why they signed up. To fight for this country, to fight for President Trump, and to rid the world of evil animals like the Iranian regime.
Can I just ask, what does victory look like to you? Are you serious? You really want just until they're annihilated and there's...
And they signed up to fight for the Constitution that they thought was protecting their rights here in America, that they were taught was keeping this place free, that they were taught was actually working for them, was actually going to last forever and be in their favor. That's what they're fighting for. And there's a lot of them that'll tell you that. They stand there and give an oath to uphold the Constitution, not to uphold the president.
regime change.
Especially a president who's going against the Constitution.
Is that final for you?
That's it. I mean, look, I want to get the dust. I want to open the strait. All that's important. But if you leave these animals in power, you're
annihilated and there's a regime change. Is that
Trump, and to rid the world of evil animals like the Iranian regime.
Can I just ask, what does victory look like to you? Are you serious? You really want just until they're annihilated and there's a regime change? Is that final for you?
That's it. I mean, look, I want to get the dust. I want to open the strait. All that's important. But if you leave these animals in power, you are destined. Look, what is the definition of insanity? Do the same thing over and over and again, expect different results. If you leave the IRGC in power, we're going to have the same issues in 5 years.
And see, this is the Edomite projecting his own calamity, his own crimes on somebody else, man. You Edomites are known for using the same playbook over and over and over again, especially here in Babylon the Great, America. But you always got to find somebody else to blame. Once you get put in the hot seat and you can't answer questions, like this Pete Hegseth dude is, who's the so-called Secretary of War, he in the hot seat right now. You asking for trillions of dollars to fund a war that you're losing, while Americans are sitting here going through, about to hit a famine, losing water, barely able to afford to pay a light bill, barely able to afford to pay rent, but yet it's still they working their ass off and paying their taxes faithfully. And you asking for 1.5 or however many trillions of dollars or billions of dollars you asking for to fund the war that you're losing, man. And you put the blame on everybody else except yourself. You create a boogeyman to blame for your actions. And this is what they do, man. And the Lord is exposing these Edomites. These Edomites are being exposed now, man. They're in the hot seat. That's why so much talk, so much all this here. You didn't hear much all this talk when we was at war with Afghanistan, with Iraq, or any other wars we fought. Desert Storm, World War II, any of these wars, man. The Vietnam War. You didn't hear all this extra talk like this, trying to defend yourself, because people got questions. Because people didn't have questions in the past, but now people got questions because they seeing your pattern. You're in the hot seat now, and now you trying to project your crimes onto somebody else, blaming them blaming somebody else for the genocide that you committed, man. All for the sake of trying to get a birthright back that you gave up yourself. Over some food that was not cooked all the way. You've been exposed, Esau, man. Oh man, I'm probably saying too much. Lord will this video don't get taken down, man.
10 years from the great President Trump, is gone. So we have no choice at this point but to go in there. And yes, regime change, I know it's two dirty words. That's part of winning the war ultimately, yes.
And when was the last time we successfully did that? And by the way, we did do regime change. We've taken out their Ayatollah only for them to replace him with another one. So what makes them think anything's going to be... I mean, this is just insanity for this guy to be actually advocating. And of course, he's an ultra-Zionist. He's advocating for troops to go in and die. And he says, you know, look, Trump's a nice guy. He doesn't want people to die. I get it, but people have got to die. They need to die for Israel so that Israel can be secure without Iran. We need regime change in Iran for Israel to be secure. Well, what about the United States? What about our men and women in uniform that you're asking to just go die? And he even says, look, I'm not a parent of an Army person, a Marine person, but look, we have them. They know what they signed up for. They signed up apparently to die for Israel, so get in there. I mean, unbelievable. He's not alone. Here's another ultra-Zionist, Ben Shapiro, basically saying, yes, you know, nobody wants to see Americans die, but they've got to.
I get why people are confused and upset. It feels like things are stalemated, that they're getting broader and more difficult. Why? Well, because what the American people want is victory. There's this bizarre notion in foreign policy that the American people are deeply worried about the immediate cost of war to the enemy. That the American people, that we can't handle the ugliness of war for even a day. That every conflict has to be totally antiseptic. And here I'm not even talking about the American willingness to undergo casualties. No one in America wants American casualties. It's tragedy and a horror. We do understand that war does come along with casualties, and we are willing to undergo those casualties in pursuit of an end and a victory for America. But as far as the idea that, for example, America, we can't hit Karg Island because the Iranian people would then be deprived of oil resources. The American people are, I should say, not particularly concerned about that. We are far more concerned with why we're there not winning. I think that what we actually ought to do is say an eye for everything. Like you touch a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, and we kill the head of the IRGC, we kill Khalibaf, we kill your entire leadership class. Again, we destroy South Pars and we destroy Karg. One drone, and that's what happens. That is the way you win in the middle. By the way, that's the way you win generally.
Did he just say an eye for an eye, and then he went on to say, so if you bomb a ship, we're taking out your leadership, we're taking out... Okay, so if it was truly an eye for an eye, then wouldn't Iran want to do the same thing to us? So if we take out their leader, they take out our leader. We take out their infrastructure, they take out our infrastructure. That's the way that works. But here he is advocating for an all-out war with Iran. You know, Ben Shapiro, who is, many of us suspect, totally and completely loyal to Israel and not to the United States of America at all. Absolutely, if the United States and Israel went head-to-head in a war, Ben Shapiro hightails it off to Israel and fights for Israel. Not fights, he's a wimp, but he would at least, he'd sit there and he'd advocate for all the other young Israelis to go and fight. So the warmongers are warmongering. Now we're down one warmonger, although he's been replaced with his sister, who's also a warmonger. But I want to talk about Lindsey Graham here. There's some old clips that have been circulating of Lindsey Graham talking about how much he just loves war. He was always so giddy whenever a war was starting. But here's Lindsey Graham celebrating this.
Now check this shit out.
Start of the Iran war, when the U.S. and Israel killed hundreds of civilians. He watched it and he was so giddy. And then I'm going to play for you a clip after we watch a couple of Lindsey Graham clips of Miriam Adelson, who was giving a tribute to Lindsey Graham, saying that her husband spoke to Lindsey Graham every single day about Israel. So who is this guy really working for?
If you want to start an online business, you have to understand that 90% of people running agencies right now are poor.
Okay,
every single
now
day
what's the
about
button?
Israel. So who is
I'm
this?
sorry, I was trying to skip the ads earlier, and for some reason my screen wouldn't work. You know, that's why you just don't need to believe in technology. You know, but yeah, it worked this time. So call the lawyer Yahweh Sham Yahweh.
Guy really working for?
Virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. No. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that
Look what we've done here. I almost cried.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how long have we been pushing this?
Well, I mean, you've been pushing this for years, right?
Right, it's here. I talked to Trump this morning. It's Jack. It's the best thing I've ever done.
They've been pushing this for years. See, this whole Iran thing ain't something new, okay? This is something they've been trying to do for years, okay? They've been wanting to do it for years. And this is why Trump is not backing down, because you see everybody is bigging him up for actually going to war with Iran. You know? Because they all on the side, well, you're going to see, they all on the side of these tiny tops.
He loves blowing stuff up. So
They just obviously got Trump on board since he became president, you know, and now he's playing ball. You know what I'm saying? They done threatened him a few times, you know, got him in order, got him in line. He's playing ball now.
you know, there are a lot of people inside that want to do it. So I've had my challenges. But President Trump, when he gets into the zone, he listens, he asks good questions, you know, no tweeting. He hadn't tweeted much at all, no drama. He's been a great wartime president. I said last night that Trump and Bibi are like Roosevelt and Churchill. I mean, they're the right two guys to confront this evil.
Here's Lindsey Graham also talking to Bibi Netanyahu.
Bibi, Lindsey.
Hey, Lindsey. How are you?
I'm just so impressed. Glad to be your friend.
I'm glad you are, my friend.
I'm going to meet with the president this weekend. I'm going down to Doral. I'm going to try to get him to join with y'all in Lebanon, to maybe fly some with you. Would you like that?
Yeah, I get that. I think you have a point, but I've been thinking about the other side of it.
And I gotta say, I mean, see how these devils operate, man. They say Trump is like Trump and Bibi is like Roosevelt and Churchill. This what this devil just said. Now, this is talking about, when I say Churchill, Winston Churchill, who was an Edomite, by the way, yet they did a whole movie portraying him as an Israelite, a so-called black man, a Judite. His character is played by, what's this dude name? Same dude that played Juice with Tupac. He played Love and Basketball. I'm sure if somebody noticed it, put it on in the comments or something like that. There, if somebody knows it. Damn, I should know this dude's name. Cause I actually like this role in Love and Basketball. Omar Epps. Matter of fact, while I'm in the zone, shoot, I'm in the zone now. See how these Edomites do stuff. It's like Elder Yasharumpa says, it's mind fuckery. So let's see, who played Winston Churchill in the movie? Okay, so hold on. Give me a second. Omar Epps was played Winston Churchill in the movie. See, this is not true. I saw this movie myself. I saw this movie myself. See, it's not true. Oh man, they're so messed up. They're so messed up. All good. All good. We know Esau's a big old freaking liar. But you can look at this dude, any of these people who portrayed him, you know what I'm saying? You see, these are fucking devils, man. These are fucking devils. Anyway, so let's go back to the video. That's messed up. Because I know I saw that movie, man.
For a second, we're concentrating right now on Iran. If we tell Hezbollah that we're going all the way, we threaten them. But if we actually do it, then they have no reason not to go all the way against us. And right now, that's not our interest. We can do it later.
Well, that's actually good counsel. I'll put it out there as an idea. We can always go back to it.
I mean, listen to this guy saying, how would you like America's help in Lebanon? How about that? How about we go in and we help you bomb Lebanon? For what purpose exactly? And then Netanyahu says, I don't know, because then they're going to come after us, and I don't really want to do that. We're really focused on Iran right now. We want to keep the Americans focused on Iran. I mean, this is who Lindsey Graham was. And the big question is, who was he actually working for? Because it sounds like, he's happy to be Bibi's friend. He's happy to help him try to get America roped into a war in Lebanon. Well, tell you exactly who he was working for. He was working for the Israelis. He was a good friend to Sheldon Adelson and even spoke to him every single day. This is what Mary Madelson said during her tribute to him, that they spoke every day about Israel. Lindsey Graham, who was a United States Senator, a traitor to the country.
We were very close friends of Lindsey. Sheldon, we met him in 1990, approximately. There was a mission of AIPAC, and we took freshman congressmen, Republican, to Israel. So we and Sheldon and me and another two partners of Sheldon paid for the trip, donated it to AIPAC educational group, something like that. And then we met Lindsey. And I want to tell you, I, as a physician, I love to see the brain. and the eyes are our brain. And they were so pure and blue, and you could see what he's thinking about. He was so honest, with integrity, and Sheldon and me fell in love with him, and the relationship continued for years. As was mentioned, I talked today with his secretary Betty, and I asked her, tell me more about the relationship. She was telling me every day, there was not a day that Sheldon talked with Lindsay. They talked about Israel. Lindsay gave him advice, Sheldon gave him advice, and they had fun.
And they had fun. And Lindsey Graham was having a lot of fun watching those bombs go off when he died. So much fun. Just unbelievable. This is where we're at. And the Israelis mock us. The Israelis laugh about it, essentially. They're gleeful that they've been able to rope the United States into all of this. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson show, which you can watch in its entirety Monday through Friday.
So just get a scripture right quick, and then I got another video from her as well, because I'm going to link this other video to what you just watched. So I'm going to the book of Job, chapter 20. I believe it's at verse 19. Let's see. I'll say this. I'll start right here, verse 4, and then I'll go down. It says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphant of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite for a moment. And you see the hypocrisy in this devil's mind. Though his excellency mounted up to the heavens, and his head reached unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? Yeah, and look here, man. When Yahushua returns, that's a wrap for Esau. He got 1,000 years in the captivity, and then total decimation of the whole nation, straight up. Let's jump down to verse 19. It says, because he had oppressed and had forsaken the poor, because he had violently taken away an house which he had not builded. America, Babylon the Great. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. Okay, because you don't just do wickedness, without the Lord. Even if the Lord hadn't judged you yet, he gonna put that guilt in you. And that's what got him acting like he's acting. It says, there shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And it says, every hand of the wicked, that's talking about all these other nations. Okay? So this man is losing all the way. And he's in straits. He's trying to figure out what his next move is going to be. Do you want to put boots on the ground? Do you not want to put boots on the ground? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? He's trying to figure out his next move. Because ultimately, like I said, this war is not going to die down. But, you know what? I'm going to have to finish this here and get to the next video. Verse 23, when he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain upon him while he's eating. He's not going to succeed all the way with his plans, man. And we know his plans ultimately is a NWO. You know what I'm saying? A whole new world wherein dwelleth wickedness. As we are expecting a whole new kingdom wherein dwelleth righteousness. So this man is literally out of his mind, man. And you see how these people talk. They ready to go all the way in. But they know in order to secure, or at least try to secure themselves a permanent position in charge on earth, they have to complete their new world order. So they got to be careful with their strategies. But the Lord is messing everything up for them, and got all these other nations coming against them, and giving these other nations the power to fight against them, which is power that they didn't have in the past. Okay, so hey, it's getting real out here, man. It's getting real out here for real, and these Edomites finna freaking lose, man. Straight up. You know what? Let me read some more. Verse 24. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. What's that bow of steel? That iron weapon. He's talking about these nuclear missiles, man. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yeah, the glittering sword cometh out of his gale. Terrors are upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places, and fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. Okay, and so and that's why the scriptures say that anybody in America, Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed except for the elect. You know, even you 2/3 Israelites that want to be a part of this, that want America to continue. Hey, it's a wrap for you too. It says the heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. This is what's happening. You're going to see more of that in this next video I play. The increase of his house shall depart. His goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from God, and the heritage appointed unto him by God. And this is the inheritance of the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. Okay? This is the heritage. This is the portion. This is what he was created for. To lose. Okay, but the Lord put the spirit on him to give it his best shot in trying to win. So look at this next video. Let's go here. Check this one out.
Doctors are inviting people who need total knee replacement surgery to join a clinical study offering the surgery at no...
Ukraine apparently bombed Iran. Yeah, you heard me right. Ukraine attacked Iran. Zelensky says Ukraine successfully struck vessels in the Caspian Sea that were transporting military cargo between Russia and Iran. This is the story, says the Security Service of Ukraine, the SBU, confirmed strikes on a Russian Navy project. 12-418 Molniya missile boat, sanctioned vessels, the Port Olia 2 cargo ship, and the Beggy Dry cargo ship, an oil platform at the Filovsky field in the Caspian Sea. Anyway, they go on and they tell us all of the details of exactly what they struck. So the Ukrainians striking the Iranians in the Ukrainian Sea, you could see, in the Caspian Sea. You see here's the Caspian Sea. It's sandwiched between Russia and Iran. Ukraine, of course, is over by Russia. You can see that on the western side of Russia. And Ukraine apparently lobbed some attacks against the Iranians in the Caspian Sea as the Russians and Iranians were transporting apparently weapons between one another, between Iran and Russia. Well, if you watch my show, you already know I don't buy the official story at face value. Whether it's economic policy, foreign wars, or media narratives, I've often seen how the public gets told one thing while something very different is actually happening underneath. And when it comes to the economy, there are real warning signs building. You've got rising debt and inflation that just
Okay, so now we're at a point to, I mean, this is a big twist, you know what I'm saying, in this conflict. You know, now all of a sudden Ukraine decides to bomb Iran. And their excuse is because they're transporting missiles. Iran is transporting missiles to Russia they're basically aiding Russia in this war. Now we all know that Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea, I believe it's North Korea, they're allies. Okay. And we did just look at a video the other day where this same individual, this same chick here was talking about, are we bringing China and Russia into this war? You know, so the bells are ringing. You see what I'm saying? Now, she's going to get into some other things, and I'm going to give my opinion from judging everything that's going on, you know. And I mean, we're going to see where it goes, man.
Won't go away. Policy keeps shifting based on politics instead of any real long-term plan. And the people who feel it first are everyday Americans. Costs keep climbing, your dollar doesn't stretch as far, and your retirement is starting to feel a lot less certain. So the question is, what do you actually control? Because I'm a big believer in stepping outside systems that depend entirely on trust. That's why I like owning something real. Physical gold and silver from the company I trust, American Hartford Gold. These are tangible assets, not numbers on a screen, not something that depends on the Fed getting it right or politicians suddenly becoming responsible. Gold has held its value through inflation, currency devaluation.
Now, to be honest, I don't trust anything American. Just being honest. But at the same time, in the times that we're in and in the times that we're coming into, I will honestly say it's definitely to try to have some kind of gold or silver on hand, how much you can afford, you know, just to, because you'll need some kind of currency, some way of trade, you know, bartering, whatever the words are, you know. Now, ultimately, we depend on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Those of us that's over there, hopefully, let me know we ultimately depend on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. But if you do, I mean, if you are given, if the Lord has blessed you with a way to obtain some kind of gold or silver, it's not a bad idea to do so. Okay, yes, we depend on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, but does that mean that you stop going to work right now and just depend on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai? You still got to get your daily bread right now. That does not stop until everything is shut off. When this dollar collapses, the system is going to collapse. The system is going to collapse. Gold and silver will be a way of trading, of buying and selling, you know, so therefore it'll be another defense. It's a form of money, okay, that can hold you at least just for a little while till you get to whatever your next step is according to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. So just a thought, you know, if you're able, there's nothing wrong with it. And I will reiterate it. Ultimately, we depend on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Not gold, not silver, not greenback money, and definitely not no doggone digital payments. Okay? But I did want to make that point.
And major economic shifts. American Hartford Gold has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews. They'll deliver gold and silver directly to your door or help you move into a gold IRA if you're serious about protecting your retirement. Because independence isn't just about what you think, it's also about what you own. Also, if you call today and tell them I sent you, you can get up to $20,000 in free silver with your first purchase. Call 8.
And for what it's worth, I do want to say that the Elder Apostle Tahar did go into this a few times in the past about getting silver and gold, you know, if you can, you know, because once again, money is a defense. Silver and gold are going to be the only money available that's worth anything in the times that we're coming into. Okay, once again, we depend on Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. That's where our first faith is. Okay, but if he blesses you to be able to defend yourself, do so.
866-584-3884 or text Kim to 65532. That's 866-584-3884.
But do so without losing faith, because eventually that will run out as well. Don't forget that. Eventually your silver and gold will run out as well. We're going to come into a time where we have to depend on Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, but we're taking our steps. Okay? Don't forget that. Okay? But get it. It'll last you for a little while. If you can. But either way, you still depend on Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai first and foremost.
Or text Kim to 65532 or click the link in the video description.
Beautiful. Are you by any chance a senior single woman? Because on this platform, 250,000 users are looking for their soulmate. Afraid to write first? No problem. Men here may take the...
Yeah, hurry up.
Text
and get rid
Kim
of that shit.
to 65532 or click the link in the video description.
I'm sorry, I gotta say, you got a bunch of Edomites on that page. Looking for single women. Jake don't care at this moment. Jake has already let go of women. Okay? Especially the so-called black woman. And 9 times out of 10, that's what these Edomites are getting on here. Looking for a so-called black woman. A Judite woman. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a Judite woman that get on now. Looking for them. But that's besides the point of the video. I just had to say that.
The Ukrainians are claiming that the Iranians were providing weapons to Russia. Now, that was one I haven't heard before. We normally hear that Russia is providing assistance to Iran. But that essentially is Zelensky's excuse for attacking Iran, is he's saying, well, they're giving weapons to Russia, so it is a legitimate target. But I think there's actually a totally different reason as to why Zelensky's attacking Iran, and that is because he wants to get the West involved in the war between Russia and Ukraine. And what better way to do it than to join in on the war against Iran and basically essentially start an actual world war. Iran's Aragachi says Zelensky has attacked an Iranian commercial vessel, killing a sailor, a blatant UN charter violation done at Israel's behest to drag Europe into its war. In calls with EU High Rep Kallas and FM Lavrov made clear that what the freeloader in Kiev did cannot go unanswered. So now the Iranians are going to have to go after the Ukrainians because they killed an Iranian on an Iranian boat that they attacked. The Iranians also continued to say that they confirmed that Ukraine had launched attacks against them, killing an Iranian sailor, and also stating that Iran has the right to self-defense against Ukraine. Another reaction coming out of Iran saying, this is Ibrahim Azizi. He says, any attack on Iran always comes with a cost, and that remains true today. The U.S. and Israel are aware of this. Ukraine, too, may soon come to understand that Iran does not let actions go unanswered. The list of those who have miscalculated continues to increase, he says. He is the head of the National Security Commission for the Iranian parliament. That's who said that. And also the Iranian FM Spock, Ismail Baghi, accuses Zelensky of dragging Europe into a wider conflict, saying that these are theatrical and dangerous actions, and that this has made Ukraine a tool for geopolitical disputes. We're going to listen to this. We dubbed it. We used AI to dub it into English so that we could all understand it. But think about this while you're listening to this. Is the West dragging Ukraine into this war, or is Ukraine putting itself in the war in order to drag the West into the Ukraine war? There's a couple of motivations here, but let's go ahead and watch what Iran's foreign minister Spock has to say.
Certainly, all the parties that consider themselves supporters of the Ukrainian regime must also bear responsibility in this regard. Basically, the behavior of the president of Ukraine is reminiscent of the anarchists on the eve of World War I, who carried out very dangerous and theatrical actions whose consequences affected all of Europe. 4 years ago, the Ukrainian regime turned its country into a tool for geopolitical dispute.
And just right quick, I'm Gordon Gillen, Revelation, I believe it's chapter 17. Because this is where I see this going, according to the prophecies. But we'll see what the Lord says. Because the Lord can shift this any kind of way He wants. Revelation 17 and 15, it says, "And He said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth," that whore is talking about Babylon the Great, it says, "are people and multitudes and nations and tongues." So, because America is that great melting pot, okay, very diverse, a bunch of different people from a bunch of different nations, from a bunch and a bunch of multitudes of them all. Okay, it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast shall hate the whore." Okay, and that those 10 horns represents NATO and the EU, the European Union. It says, "And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." Okay, so ultimately, because what we're according to the prophecies, the EU and NATO is going to turn on America and join with Russia. Okay, and therefore join with China, and therefore join with Iran, and out of that, and just getting rid of America, because America has pissed off all its allies. Okay, and people are tired of going to war, or having to go to war, or having to suffer because of America's wars and small hat wars. And America ain't did nothing but suffer, but support small hat wars. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the wars that America has been in was them fighting for the small hats, the tiny tops. Okay, this is why they're being depleted in ammunition and all that. They've done more fighting than they have producing weapons. Okay, and that's because their pride, because they feel like these other nations won't come against them. So right quick, let's get the book of Obadiah. It's only one chapter, but let's go down to here. We'll start at verse 3. It says, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest upon the stars, among the stars, thence will I bring thee down. said Yahweh Bashab Yahweh Shah, so they can go dig into their bunkers, you know, and they can go set up space stations. You know what I'm saying? They it's called the Lower Leo, the Lower something. But anyway, it's a certain distance they can go into space. That's how we know where they didn't go to the moon. But anyway, they have space stations basically set up there. So a lot of them go run into these bunkers, and a lot of them go flee there, you know what I'm saying, for protection. They're going to think they're going to be protected, but Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah is going to intervene in this war. Yahweh Shah and the angels, you know, with Michael the Archangel, they coming down to wreck shop in the midst of this war. That's why we're so excited about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to jump down to verse 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. All the men of thy confederacy, all your allies are bringing you to a point of destruction, man. It says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Okay? And hey, that's enough on that one now, because I'm going to have to get Jeremiah chapter 50 and roll out. But you see what's going on here, man. It's they don't know what to do. Because I can honestly speculate myself that the fact that they're running out of missiles, they might be employing the Ukraine to shoot some of the missiles that they sent to them towards Iran. Because just to keep themselves in this war. Because right now, if they're depleted of missiles, as we saw in the first video she did, if they're running out of missiles, then they're probably left down to their nukes, the nuclear missiles, which they don't want to shoot off until, because the nuclear war is basically so whoever wins it basically solidifies themselves as who's gonna be the country in charge of this new world order. So they're saving that for that purpose, because America is still trying to make themselves feel relevant, you know, because they're losing all their relevancy, you know. And as you can see, after so many years, they have, like I said, because of their pride, they have produced less missiles than needed for all the battles that they have fought. Okay. So now, and then sending other missiles to support other wars for other countries, you know, it's crazy, man. Esau is in a trap. He's been put into a trap. Babylon the Great has been put into a trap that it cannot escape from. And so that's why they're trying other angles to keep themselves in this war without shooting their own missiles. Okay? I mean, it's still their missiles, but they gave them to the Ukraine to fight Russia, which was dumb. The Ukraine can't defeat Russia. America can't defeat Russia. They can give them a run for their money, but they can't defeat them. And they damn sure can't defeat them now. They would have had a chance before this whole Iranian conflict and all this other stuff that's happened. Freaking messing with the small hats. This mess that happened started in 2023 or 2024 or something like that. So it's over with for this Edomite, man. It's over with for Babylon the Great. You know,
We just at that time. Matter of fact, let me get Jeremiah chapter 50. I'm gonna just get a couple of verses and let you hear a little bit more of her video and close it out. So Jeremiah chapter 50, I'm gonna start at, I think I got it highlighted. And do I want to start at verse 8? Jeremiah 50 and 8. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he-goats before the flocks. For lo, I will raise and cause to come against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrow shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain, because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to be guarding those missiles, and they going to hit the targets here in America, Babylon the Great, coming from all these other nations to make sure they hit their specific targets to burn this BITCH to the ground. It says, all Chaldea shall be a spoil, all that spoil her shall be satisfied. Said Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage. Okay, they destroyed the whole heritage of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, destroyed his people. Took our heritage from us. Took the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai from us. There's a judgment for that, man. And give us so-called freaking right Jeepers Creepers. Because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. You know, they've profited from their wickedness. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bear you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. And that's what's coming to America, Babylon the Great. And all these nations are about to get angry at Babylon the Great. Verse 13, because the wrath of the Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is not, it shall not be inhabited. Okay, because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at her plagues. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? And that's what's getting ready to happen. Okay? As it was said in the beginning. He laid a snare for, no, that's coming down. So let's jump down. Verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee. A snare is a trap. And thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? So the Lord ain't playing no games with America, Babylon the Great, man. It's time for you to, Israelites, to repent, or hey, you're going to be caught up in this, as you see on the screen, new war. WW3.
Disputes between major powers. During this period, it has accused various countries, instead of focusing on solving the problem and freeing its country and region from the war it has endured. We have said from the beginning that we have no involvement in the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. This move by Ukraine was also an absolutely illegal, contrary to the UN Charter, and also a dangerous conspiracy, which certainly will not go unanswered by us. Certainly, Zelensky's supporters must restrain him in this regard, and also be aware that the actions of the Ukrainian regime, its consequences can affect different parts of the world.
If you're struggling with depression and not feeling the comfort and peace that you need, I invite you to meet with missionaries like me from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We can help you lift your burdens through the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Different parts of the world.
Okay, so once again, the question is, why did Ukraine do this? Why did they bomb Iran? Did they do this because the West is now using them as another proxy? So it's, the United States doesn't really want to get into the war as deep as the Israelis want the U.S. to get into it. So is this a manipulation tactic of Ukraine? Is it once again we're using the poor Ukrainians as cannon fodder? We've roped them into another war, and we say, oh, okay, well, you're already going after the Russians. Why don't you go after the Iranians too? Is that what this is? Is it the West using Ukraine? Or is it that Ukraine saw an opportunity and Ukraine says, you know what we could do is if we go up against Iran, then we might actually get the West bringing troops in, America bringing troops into Ukraine in order to help us against the Russians because we're going to help them with the Iranians. And so together, side by side, on the bases in Ukraine, we could be going after our enemies. I think that's more likely. I think it's actually more likely that Ukraine is calculating this out, but not just Ukraine. This is an opportunity for the warmongers in Washington as well. The warmongers in Washington are sitting around saying, how do we get the American people on the side of this war against Iran? Right now, nobody's for this war. You've got a lot of Republicans who are totally against it, and you have all the Democrats who are totally against it. Well, how do you get more people on board? Well, if you unite them against Russia, because yes, there's a lot of Republicans who don't want to go to war with Russia, but there's a lot who do. And you've got pretty much all the Democrats on the side of Ukraine. So now you could at least win back a huge chunk of the population. And soon enough, Trump won't even be in power. The war will continue beyond Trump. So it won't, they could put a Democrat in and then people are going to be full blown for this war again, because really all the Democrats will be for it and half the Republicans will be for it rather than right.
And I actually don't believe that scenario, because they don't have the interest of the American people in mind. Because of what I want to get into is civil unrest in my next lesson, Lord will. Okay, because they in my opinion, Trump is trying to piss off the Americans anyway. With everything he's doing is to piss off the Americans, and there's so many of them that ain't just got pissed yet. But, I mean, we know what the prophecy says. We know what the outcome is going to be. And that's enough for me to keep faith. That should be enough for all of us to keep our faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And know that whatever happens, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai made it happen. Okay? But this can play out a few different ways. Either way, the scriptures don't lie, man. The scriptures don't lie. And we in that time. And best believe if this is going. And another thing I want to say is that they probably need somebody else to be at war with Iran, because they cannot sustain going to war with them right now, continuously fighting with them right now, because they're running out of missiles. And they need the fight to go on while they they continue to put us in a situation to where they can implement that MOTB to us. Okay, because once again, this war is not going to go nuclear till they have that MOTB. So if it's true that they're out of weapons, yeah, they're going to bring in some kind of ally, somebody, some dummy, you know what I'm saying, to continue this war, to continue, to ruin our economy, you know what I'm saying, so that they continue to work on getting our MOTB the MOTB established for us. That Revelation 13, that microchip, man. So this devil is moving all out of place, you know what I'm saying, trying to figure out what he want to do and how he gonna do it. We know what he's gonna do, you know what I'm saying. The steps he's gonna take to do it, we don't know, but the Lord is revealing something to us each and every day. So call the Lord Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai for that, and call the Lord Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, proving your words to be faithful and true. I'm going to end it right there, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Wakakwadash. Hey, listen, stay prayed up, stay watching, stay circumspect, okay? Know the times that you're in, and know that you're almost out of here. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, okay? Again, ending it right there, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Wakakwadash. Shalom.